want to tell, hey, how are you, Sue? You want to tell us who you are? Oh, you have a company today. He's gorgeous.
Today. He's so funny. He thinks he can squeeze into any space, and he actually does.
Okay, you like to introduce yourself, Sue?
Yeah. So, hi, my name is Soo-hyun Nam. I am a knitter and a budding knitwear designer based in Toronto, Ontario, and I am also a friend and a customer of the store, my local store, Unit. And Claudia, how about you?
Okay, my name is Claude Quintanilla. I live in Toronto. I own a small store, a craft store called Eweknit. I designed a lot of patterns. You can check them in Ravelry. Most of them they're for free. I have 2 children, a husband and a dog. And I live in Toronto, but I'm originally from El Salvador.
So, Claudia, what are we going to be talking about in our podcast, in today's episode and in the future episodes?
Well, I think in the one from today, we're going to be talking a little bit about how and why we got into knitting and how we learn to knit. I'm going to be showing a couple of books and a book actually that I'm really in love with. I'm going to be showing one of my designs that is for free in Ravelry that I really like. It's an attempt of a Fair Island design, a very modern way. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I'm wearing. And I think, I don't know what you want to be talking about, Sue.
Yeah, so I also want to be talking about, I'll be talking about how I got into knitting, and how I started designing my own knitwear. And I'll share with you a couple of things that I got in the mail this week.
Oh yeah, that's through the books. So,
Yeah, so Claudia, how did you get into knitting? How did you start?
well, I start to knit. I better start by how this start. I start by crocheting. I learned to crochet I learned to crochet when I was 5 years old because my mom used to make these like very beautiful blankets and she used to make them for gifts for her friends when they got married. She never really made them for us, but she was like really fast there with her needle doing and I was really into trying, but she would never let me try into her like big nice project. So she got me a needle and she made me do some chain, and then I started to be very obsessed about it. I keep doing chain, and I actually really love it. I really like it. I feel a big need to do what my mom was doing. But I grew up and I went to school, and when I was like about 11 years old, I went to school with nuns, and most of the nuns were Europeans. In El Salvador, we don't have a tradition of knitting. We have more a tradition of crocheting because the weather is really warm. So, but the nuns, they were Europeans, so a lot of them they knit. And was this nun named Sor Judith that used to knit a lot in the backyard. And she was in her 80s. In the past, she used to be a math and a physics professor.
Math and physics teacher.
Now she was retired and she was doing a lot of knitting in the backyard just for relaxing. So she was kind of scary, but I really have this big compulsion to go and ask her. And I said, "So Judith, would you teach me to knit?" And she said, "Yes, sure, but under one condition." And I said, "Okay, what is the condition?" She said, "I don't going to speak to you. You're just going to learn by seeing what I do." So, and I learned from her. We did a scarf with cables. Believe it or no, it was my first project, and a scarf with cables, and the cables would open in the middle. Then the another side of the scarf would go to the other side. So, and this scarf was for my grandfather, and was really hairy and was really itchy. And
but I'm sure he loved it.
I give it to him. I finish it. I think he probably wore it a couple of times and hung it somewhere because there is like it's really hot in there for this. But the funny part is that after I asked her who did, the school implement the knitting classes for everybody. So all my colleagues, all my friends, they start to learn to knit. And I make a lot of friends and I make some not so good friends because they weren't really happy with this. So in the end, I ended with my desk full of people asking me to do a couple of rods for their projects.
Oh, like do
And
their
then,
homework.
yes, and then that's how I start to knit, and I love it. It's like become a big part of my life. And yeah, that's how I learn. And I think a little bit of the designing, now that I'm doing my own designs, come from there. Right. Because a lot of the stuff that I learned with Sor Judith or I learned with my mom was just by observing. We didn't have any books, we didn't have any tools. To do a cable, we would use like a little safety pin. So we learned the most simple way, and so that's how this started. Now I cannot live without knitting.
All right. I mean, that's really cool. I am getting a picture of you when you're 5 years old, sitting next to your mom, and when you're 11 years old, bugging this nun who just wants to knit in quiet, and she just tells you to learn by watching because no noise, please.
I don't think she
That's
want me talking, to be honest. I
that's
think
so
she want me
funny.
to be very, very quiet.
Yeah, but I also find it really cool that you learned how to crochet and knit and these things without like a set pattern. It seems like it was a very intuitive way for you to learn, how to construct stitches to, lean a certain way, lean some other way, and that's really organic and cool. So yeah.
When I arrived to Canada, I want to go back into knitting, and I did have to take some classes to be able to read patterns because I was totally off or it. But I think somehow to being able to have knit without any patterns is allowed you to imagine more things and just go by your instincts, like you were saying. So how you start to knit?
Yeah, so me, I learned how to knit when I was 8 years old. I think I read in a children's storybook about some girl who made a scarf for her father, and I wanted to do the same thing. And my mom actually was an avid crocheter, and she used to crochet little dresses and skirts, hats, vests, things like that for me and my cousins. So she had a lot of yarn and stash. She taught me how to knit with on these long, big wooden needles. And so yeah, I started in November. The plan was, I believe, to make it for Christmas, but I don't know why. It never grew more than this. And I think it was February I got to about here and I just like, okay, I don't know what's happening. It's not growing. So I stopped. And yeah.
Which kind of needles were those? They were thick or thin?
I think it's probably it must have been like US size 6 or 7. Yeah, and maybe it was like a DK weight yarn. I don't know. My mom just she had a huge stash that she ended up throwing away at some point. But anyway, so that's how I started. And then I got really busy, with just my life. And then a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity, that's how I look at it, an opportunity to take some time for myself and look after my health. And knitting was a recommended activity for me to use as a tool for grounding and for meditation. And it kind of went from there.
Yeah, it's similar to what happened to me. I didn't learn. Well, I learned to knit at 11, but I didn't knit for a really long time until I started to feel really sick at some point. And I didn't know what to do. And ended that I wasn't that sick. They told I was very sick, but ended that I wasn't that sick. But that got me back to knitting. And since I went back, I haven't been able to stop. And I think that's been like 20 years. 20 years without stopping.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it has something to do with how we were introduced to, you know, like seeing women around us, like mothers and grandmothers around us making things, and because it's such a comforting memory. And they say what you end up doing in your adulthood is likely similar to what you love to do most when you're like 5 years old. So I think about that, and I think of you, the 5-year-old little girl, asking how to crochet, and like with the big eyes. And do you have any pictures from that time?
Yeah, I do. Maybe we should post some of them somewhere.
Yeah, I'll share some. I'm wearing my mom's crochet things, and yeah.
Oh, it's cool that you have photos from that. I don't think I have any from the real things, but I have photos of that, of me in that age. Let's talk a little bit about what we're wearing.
Yes. All right. So I'll go first.
Okay.
This is this is my
It's a very pretty sweater on you.
Thank you. This is my very first sweater design. I'll get up a little bit. There's like a little fun detail on the side. I was taking a break on it because it got too hot or something, but now I think is the perfect time to pick it up again. And it's made with BC Garn Bio Balance.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's organic. I think it's organic, and it's got that real lightness, like almost cotton, like kind of matte, light, fluffy quality to it. So I really like it, and it's
Can we get that pattern in Ravelry already, or you haven't posted it?
I have made notes. I haven't written out the complete pattern.
Okay, we're gonna keep tuned for that one. We're gonna keep putting pressure on that because we want that sweater in pattern.
Yeah, this one is actually all done. I was kind of playing with, I have a provisional cast on for the neck part because I was thinking of doing a little picot, folded hem with the thing on it. So we'll see how it goes, but it's almost written. I think I'll have it done in the next like 3-4 weeks.
It looks super cute on you.
Thank you. And what about you? What are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing a sweater that I made this year. The name is Clara. And I really like this sweater for a couple of reasons. Okay, it's made with Isagar linen. It's called Trio, and with Isagar mohair. I really like the Trio because it keeps the sweater fresh. Because I tend to feel really hot everywhere. I don't know if that's my age and my hormones, but I just like find that this doesn't bother me at all. Another reason why I really like how this pattern ends is because this is the size small, medium, and it's fit perfect on I, and it's fit perfect in my daughter. We're gonna post a picture of her right now there. This pattern is for free in Ravelry. You guys can go and print it. It's very easy construction. It's just a regular sweater. The interesting part, yeah, it's just a round. It's a regular. It's a round. The interesting part is that this part in here is transparent. This part in here is transparent, and this part in here is transparent. You cannot see it in this light, but we're gonna post one right now there. Then you can see how beautiful the light go through, and that's why the name Clara, because Clara in Spanish is a name of a woman, but in the same time it means transparency. It means something that is full of light, something that doesn't have anything that you can actually see clear through. So I really like it. It's very easy. It's a couple of short rods in the back. You don't have to do the short rods if you feel insecure about the short rods. But I did try to make this idea up here where I do short rods in the top and I leave it longer in here because I want this to have an angle.
Oh, like this kind of bias.
Yes, but yes.
Also like the little taper here.
Yes, but I don't know if you can really see it there. Again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, if you find that confusing, but it's just actually a couple of short rods starting here, and I just go back and forth just to make this longer. I think longer would look more interesting, but I didn't want to scare the clients. I want to do something more wearable. So on this, I love the color, I love the yarn, it's washed really well, and guess what? I'm really happy because I actually can wear it. I feel super comfortable with it. So again, it's there in the screen, and you guys can check it and go ahead and make it if you like. We do have the kits in the store. You don't need to get the kits because the pattern is for free. If you have a yarn, then you can do it. You need something that is a decay because when you put a lace with a fingering, it's ended to be a decay that would be 22 stitches per 4 inches. So I highly recommend it. I like it. It's a good sweater for a summer night too, because it's not super warm.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I like that it's like all season. It's like both linen, but it's got that mohair kind of cushiness and it's very comfortable. And you said that you can share this. It's got enough positive ease so that
yeah, it is.
like yeah, you can share it with your
Yeah,
daughter. You can both
yeah.
wear it.
That's almost impossible. So this is kind of nice.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Yeah.
do you want to? You told me that you received two beautiful books on the mail from Unit. So one I don't know from where else, but I think you have a very nice magazine there that you want to show us.
Well, the first one is the Lane magazine, issue
We
number
all love
10.
that magazine. We were
I
waiting for this
know.
number 10 so much.
Yeah, so they had
I
a
love
little
that
bit of a
Midori
hiatus.
sweater in there.
Yes, yes. Oh, and I in the first few pages I saw your dream
Ooh!
sweater because they have advertisements from different yarn companies.
Yes, you can check that sweater out again, Ravelry. I think we have kits for it.
Yeah, you said that you're really into the I think it's the snow crust
Oh, I
sweater or
love
something.
Midori stuff. I love
Yeah, me
all the
too.
stuff she make. I think
Yeah,
you
me
have a
too.
sweater by her and it looks
Oh,
so cute on you.
Snowy forest. That's
Ah,
the one.
so beautiful.
Well, my favorite is the one that's actually on the cover. The
Oh,
this cowl. It's by a Canadian designer, Maxim Sir. I think that's how you say his name. But I really like it. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's this
oh, it's very
one.
nice. And the
Yeah, and I
border is
really
gorgeous.
what I really like about it, oh, here's a better picture. What I really like about it is that the light part uses suri mohair, so it's got that shine and there's extra fuzz and halo, and I just think that it's brilliant the way he has highlighted that different quality
Very
because I'm
nice.
all about texture. I love texture so much. So
I
yeah, so I'm
know.
yeah.
I'm happy you got your Lane magazine. I'm happy you got it.
Okay, so the second book I got is Treasure Knitting, and this arrived in my mail. I got it. This was actually a project, Kickstarter project for fundraising by Nomad News, which is a very special yarn company who works with the nomadic people in Tibet and Nepal and Mongolia, and they are all about preserving the way of life, working with the herd animals that they move around with and they live with, and sustaining their economy and preserving their way of life, and also empowering women, and all of these things. It's just really beautiful. And the thing that I also really love about, well, just some pictures, so some of that nature, they give you some background about the environment. Um, and here you can see some traditional clothes
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
animals.
Oh, that's so much inspiration, for do things with a lot of
Yeah.
colors and
And actually, yeah, I'm being Korean, I recognize a lot of these really vivid primary colors that are used a lot in our traditional clothing. So
gorgeous.
there's there's definitely some kind of connection there that I appreciate. But for me personally, the element that was super special and exciting was the fact that this book also features designs by one of my very favorite designers. Her name is Eri Shimizu. I'm a huge fan. She doesn't know me, but I'm a
I
huge
love all
fan.
her things too.
Yes. Yeah, some of the very first sweaters that I made were all her designs, and she's Asian, like East Asian like me. She's Japanese, I'm Korean, and I think she's around my age. I am in my somewhere in my 20s, 30s, and I think I really appreciate her aesthetic. It's very modern, and oh gosh, I'm trying to find the picture of that beautiful shawl, but I can't find it. I'll share a picture with you. But basically, the cover is a sketch of an illustration of this beautiful circular shawl that she has made, inspired by the natural qualities of the fabric that's created using Nomad News yarn. So this was a gift that I got. Oh, here it is. So this is kind of there's better pictures, but
Oh,
in
it's
here
so
so you can
nice.
get some ideas. And I love these colors; are very natural looking. Yeah, so I can't wait to start making it. I have my homework for my own designs, but I don't know. I think I might get a little bit distracted.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's the problem with the books. I have a book to show you too that have me very distracted. It's called Vintage Shetland Project by Susan Camphor. I must say that this book is very beautiful, very good investment to read this book. I'm not normally get into a book this big because normally I'm reading novels or I'm reading something. Sure. But this book is really beautiful. I would like to tell you a little bit about, but it's very long. So I'm just gonna tell you 4 things, the way the book is somehow divided. In the first part of the book, Susan talked about how she select the pieces that she's gonna use in the book. And it's very interesting because she select 27 pieces of garments from a museum. But these garments from these museums, they're being made for people, for their neighbors, for their lovers, for their fathers. There were pieces made for love. There were pieces made for wearing. Yeah.
oh, when are these garments from? When are they from?
1920, 1950s. So, anyways, going back to it, she chose these pieces because by that time in the 1920s, 1950s, in the island, they were making a lot of sweaters for sale because it was a big part of the way that people got income. People even didn't got paid with money. Sometimes people got paid with food. So they really need to do this knitting. But these pieces, they're special because they weren't made for sale. Never. They just were made for love or for the person, for themselves to wear, because they were somehow more complicated and they weren't economically a good investment to make for sale. So the pieces, in the first part of the book, she talked about that, how she select these pieces. And the second part of the book, that I find the most beautiful part, she talked about the people wearing these pieces and the people making these pieces, and she take us to the history and the social environment and economical environment where these pieces were made and where, and why they were made that way, what was fashionable. And so it's very interesting to meet these 27 people who somehow have relation to these pieces of that she is studying. But she go furthermore, and in the third part of the book, they produce all the pieces of the 27 pieces, they reproduce them. She create patterns for them, and she recreate the wool too. So she go into dyeing the wool the way that they were dyeing in that times. And so in the third part, you can see all the pictures of people wearing these sweaters in the places where they were supposed to be wearing originally, in the rivers, in the mountains, in the houses, originally where they were to be used. And in the fourth part, and I think it's the part that a lot of the knitters going to be very interesting, is all the patterns for all of these beautiful garments. I'm going to show you a few, just few, and I hope that you can see them through here. This is the 27 patterns that she chose. I'm in love with the best. My heart is with the best. I really have to make something similar one day. And then I'm gonna show you 3 patterns, and I think they're gorgeous, but you're probably gonna find other ones if you get to see the book. This is the best, already make it in modern time. It's gorgeous. It's very, very pretty. I'm going to show you just 2 more. I really like this sweater because it's happy and easy to make, I think.
And I love the color. I love the colors of the fabric.
Happy.
Yeah, they look very natural too.
Yeah, interesting because when Susan made the decision to make the colors, she have to make the colors because in the islands, a lot of the yarn they produce is heathery, but these sweaters that weren't originally heathery. Some of them that have like the really full color, so that's why she went to the museums and find examples of the original colors of the yarn. And she was able to find some cards from the colors, and she reproduced all of them. because she wanted to be as close as they can to the originals. And this is the last one that I.
Yeah, she was she did her doctoral degree, PhD in this.
Took her 8 years to do this study, and she had cancer during she did it. She had breast cancer, so this is very important. It's like she put her heart into this, and this is my favorite one. I can totally see it in cropped. It's very beautiful. Anyways, this book is lovely. I highly recommend it. It's just a very good investment. It's history there. But it's a little bit of the history, not just the history of how these books were made. It's the history of the wearers, the people who made it, and the people who actually wear them to the end. No, so I really like it. And so the reason why I chose this book, because I think this book is a big inspiration for me, because I really like color work. And in my humble way, in a very, very humble way, I make a sweater that is just been put out the last month. It's called Canadian Winter. I have it here with me. I want to show it to you. I put it in this thing now. So it's Canadian Winter, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the fabric of this sweater. It's made with a yarn called Legacy Lane. I'm very happy and proud of it because it's Canadian. It's made by two ladies who live in New Brunswick. And the ladies, one is called Alison, another one is called Amy. And these colors are natural. It's nothing being added to this. This oatmeal is the pure color of the animal. And the white is just the white of the animal. They made the yarn for this sweater for me. This is like 80% wool and 20% alpaca. The alpaca is Canadian. So it's very good for the environment because there's no color being put on this. I want to show you a little bit of the construction because always people asking us these questions and it's very hard to write the answers. So in the back, I start in the top. In the back, I did few short rods. And then I start with my chart that I make up here. And couple of times here, I did couple of decreases. And it's a short sweater. But when I was dividing the body from the sleeves, I put a lot of extra. Yes. Yeah, I put a lot of extra stitches, 17 or something like that. So this ended really big, but I thought, oh, this is gonna be so big. But it ended that my model, Sydney, my beautiful model, she loved this big. So what we ended doing with the pattern is that we did two options. In one, you can have the biggest sleeve, and in the other ones, we just cast less stitches, and it's gonna be a little bit more fitted. And I think that gives you two options. I'm really happy. It's a little bit heavy, but this is a sweater that you can wear just with a t-shirt and with a pair of jeans. And it's very warm. I don't know how much you can layer it because it's very warm. And I'm gonna show.
Yeah, well, before we move on, I'd love to hear more, but I just wanted to point a couple of things out before I forget. I love how this is your humble homage to the Shetland knitting in the way that, and then you try to honor some of the principles and kind of like local elements into it, that you're using yarn that's from Canada, and you said that it's a pretty heavy fabric, right? And I remember touching it. It's super soft and it's got this luster.
Well, it's not very heavy. It's a little bit heavier than just wool.
Yeah, it's a little heavier
just
than wool. Yeah, it's not like thick, but it's very warm. I remember, and I know that the winters on the coast, on the East Coast, it's very, very cold out there. So it totally makes sense that this kind of fabric comes from there. So I just find that really cool. And yeah, and it's so soft. I remember touching it. It's got this beautiful silk-like luster to it, and it's very cozy, super soft. I just love this.
And I like the halo because the halo doesn't come. I love mohair, but I like the halo because this halo is just alpaca halo. Just one thing that I want to say about the construction of this sweater is that I add short rods to here. to the back. Before I divide the sweater into sleeves, I did put my short rods in here in this part. So that's all I'm gonna say about the sweater. I'm gonna take it out of here, then you can see the size a little bit better and how short it is. It's a short sweater. By any means, you can knit it as long as you like, but again, my lovely model liked it short, and so it's like a short big sweater.
One technical question. So you mentioned that you put some extra short rows on the back side. Why do you do that?
Because when you put short rows in the back side, it's going to be a little bit longer in the back, and it's going to give you a better fit in the back too. It's look like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's make it more fitted in the back. And it's a little bit shorter, and instead to put your short rows just in the end, then they sometimes look like a cut in there. Here they look more even. They look like they have a better flow, in my opinion. In my humble opinion.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your backside has more area to cover.
I really enjoy to do this sweater, and I really, really enjoy the idea that it was Canadian, and then it's not being colored with any artificial colors. So this was my sweater that I want to show you. And I think I have another thing that I want to show you that you can guys go and grab for free in my website, in my Ravelry. I have this pair of socks.
Oh.
They're called Momo socks. Momo in Japanese means pink. And this is one stray of mohair by Isagar and one stray of their fingering. And they're not supposed to be sacks for you to be walking around. They're supposed to be your knitting sacks. But I actually put my boots and put it outside. And I wish that I can put it on and show it to you. But I don't know if that would be appropriate. What do you think?
Maybe you can share a photo of the sock later.
Okay, yeah,
you know? Yeah. But basically, it's like reading socks, but for knitters. Like something cozy for you to indulge in.
Yeah. Is anything else? I want to just let you know that we're very happy to be able to talk with you guys and for us to give us the chance to be inside your house. And we're working and doing it every week and doing it better every week. In the next episode, we're going to be doing a raffle. Does that sound better? Okay, we're going to be doing a raffle. And Unit would like to donate to the people who start to follow us the jar to make this sweater. Canadian winter
sweater.
Yeah. Okay. So, anything else you have for today?
I just want to do a quick sneak peek of something I just recently finished.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah, I'll talk more about this, but I wanted to just bring it up because I know that you guys carry Quince and Company yarns, and they're some of my favorite yarns, and this is, I'll tell you more about it.
I think what is going to happen is that in the next thing that we do, you have to be wearing that sweater.
I will.
Because I saw it already and it looks really pretty. So, thanks, Sue. It was really nice to see you, and thanks to all of you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for watching.
House. Bye.
Well, until next time. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.